I just came here to WellFit to bring a program called Heal the Hungry Brain. It's a program that I have been doing for a few years at the Center for Eating Recovery, which I started nearly a decade ago. I am here to work with the guests to help them to understand sort of what is going on inside of their bodies and their brains when they're having urges to eat in ways that might be destructive, in ways that might be hurtful to their health, and also to help them to be able to change course, to rewire the brain about what a healthy lifestyle is, because it's not just about a lot of restricting, dieting, over-exercising, but more of really creating an internal environment in which we're feeling a sense of satisfaction that brings that hungry brain down. A stressed out body equals a hungry brain. And when we do that, we malnourish our bodies at the cellular level, creating a state of stress. When our bodies are in a state of chronic stress because we have all of these different things going on, we have more stress and hungry hormones running through the blood. And that's going to create certain physiological changes that are really relevant to eating and to metabolism. So if I'm chronically stressed out, my brain believes that I'm living in a hostile environment. This is why so many Americans are becoming hungrier, heavier, and sick. Even as we're so health-minded, yet as a culture we're becoming hungrier, heavier, and sick. We're doing it wrong. We're thinking about it wrong. A lot of times we think about health as just eating less and exercising more. But what about looking at our overall level of stress? We've all grown up in a culture where we've been told that we can just choose our weight and choose our size. If we work hard enough, that we'll be able to get there. And this is really a lie. There are limits to control over what our weight and size can be, and they're genetically determined. The Heal the Hungry Brain program is sort of broken into two parts. So one thing that a guest here is going to go away with is how to deal with the urges to do the destructive behaviors with food, because that's the hardest part. Because when the guest is here, they're being nourished really well, they're getting out in nature, they're feeling great. It's so much easier to eat really healthy when you're in that kind of a scenario. But when you go back into your life, all of those triggers are going to come back. So one of the things that I teach the guests is really how to deal with an urge in the moment that we're having it. Don't get mad at yourself that you had that urge. You know, you didn't kick a puppy, you just had an urge. Instead, welcome the urge as an opportunity to practice doing something different. What if we start sitting with our discomfort instead of medicating it, and we get all the way to the end of our urge? Essentially what happens when we get all the way to the end of it is that we start to rewire our brains. Our brain will have a program that is deeply encoded into the brain, a neural pathway of behavior that it will demand that we follow, which is why those urges are so incredibly uncomfortable, because our brain has done it so many times, it remembers it as a solution, so it demands that we do it. If we can instead sit through that, then all of a sudden we're starting to create a new neural pathway of behavior and of action. Another thing that guests will learn is learn how to proactively turn down the hungry dial in the brain so that we have really more resilience in the land of plenty where there are so many temptations, by looking at what are the things that I'm doing that is perpetuating that state of chronic stress and of hungry brain. I would hope that what they would get from doing the program is that there is absolutely hope, but we have to be thinking about it in a different way, and we have to do it in a different way.